Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Design Fusion NX webinar series, series number 3. Hope everybody's having a wonderful day. All right, so let's get started. So basically, again, just like to emphasize again that this does not replace the full instructor-led fundamentals course. It is basically intended for managers, supervisors, new employees, prospects, anybody is interested in that wants to know the basics of NX. All right. So today is the session number 3, and we're gonna go into the trimming body, crane swept, crane holes, and then tomorrow we'll go ahead and load parts in the assembly, and finally Friday we'll go ahead and create simple drawings of that. All right. Like I said before, each session will be a PowerPoint presentation embedded with demonstrations and videos. This presentation is being recorded and will be loaded to our social media channel for later if you wish to review that at a later time. Okay. So yesterday we talked about for those who joined us yesterday, we talked about the extrude and talked about the how we could go in, add, remove material once you created your base feature. And obviously continue on with creating your model, right? So we added the first base feature, which was a basic overall shape. And additional to that, we went and remove and added material to that. So an addition tool to that, we have another tool that to remove material. That is called a trim body. All right, so let me just kind of go over here real quick here. So and that could be done using basically, it's still using the same command, the extrude command, but it's just used a little bit differently. When you have an open profile, it gives you basically almost like a surface. All right, so let me just kind of show you that, and I'll go ahead and demonstrate that. Okay, so here we got the model, right? And if you look at the my part navigator, you could see that they've used basically the same command, the extrude command. Okay, so how do we go about doing that? So all we need to do is simply go to the trim command here, select the body, right? And you can either come up here and select the command, or simply a middle mouse button click, and that allows you to select the surface and therefore trimming it. Okay. I could also do the use actually a datum as well to do that, the same thing. So I'm gonna select the the body and then select the datum plane. And you can see how what is done there. Let me simply hit OK. So essentially that's how you do that. Now, I said earlier that yes, you could have used the same command here. Let me show you that real quick. So I'm gonna go ahead and simply click on the extrude command, select that surface here. And that's gonna take me obviously to Sketcher here. And I'm gonna use the open profile. Let me go and select that. Let's say something like this, right? And let's say go ahead and finish that. And obviously we wanna go the other direction. And yeah, that's fine. And say, okay. All right, so I already got that extrude 7, and all I need to do is come back and use a trim as well. So I'm going to again, basically select the same thing again, select the body, and then select, and you can see that basically did the same thing. Okay. There is another method as well. But for this method, I have to use the actually sketch has to be present first. So if I select my sketch, create a sketch, select that, say yes. And in here, I'm basically gonna do the same thing. Use a profile. There you go. And say finish sketch. And then, so I already create my profile. Then I come up here under my surfaces. I go click more, and I'm gonna use along a guide. Sweep along a guide here, right? So I'm basically do the same thing. Select the section here. And then this time the guide is basically, I'm gonna select the edge here. And that takes me there. And then say, okay. All right. So again, I'll go basically use the same command, trim body. And then again, select the body here and then select the surface here. And basically gets me the same result. So again, a couple more tools to use and how to go by using the trim command. Oh, I forgot another one here. Simply go ahead and do that again. And select that. And actually, I want to go the other direction. There you go. Okay, there you go. Okay, so let's go to the next. All right, so within that extrude command, there's more options there. You saw me earlier a second ago. I went and selected the direction, specify the factor, right? So you can see that here, how I have kind of outlined here that this the bottom here, obviously that's your sketch. And if I flipped on that, click on that, it's gonna flip it over to the other side. Now, once you extend that distance, you could basically go in and apply, either dynamically drag there or actually set a value here, or have a distance on the second, on the end of that model here. So let me just show you that real quick here. All right. And let me actually close this. There you go. Okay, let me go ahead and start a new model here. All right, so I'm gonna go to new. And I'll go ahead and leave it as inches, that's fine. And then in here, I'm gonna go ahead and select the extrude command, select that datum plane there. And I'm gonna simply create a simple rectangle here, just kind of demonstrate the functionality of, or the options on the extrude dialog box. All right, like I said, right? If we look at this a little closer, you can see that obviously the bottom here is my sketch is, and I can always come back and click on this vector, specify vector, and that pushes it down, right? I could come back and select a start distance. Let's say I'm gonna make that 2, right? And then the end distance, and again, you could just kind of get the idea how this works, right? Or if I want to make that further, I'll make that maybe 0.5 here. And you can see where the sketch is at versus where it's at, okay? If I want to make that back to 0, okay. So you can kind of get an idea how that works there. Let me bring this a little bit down here. All right. The next one is, how about if I want to add a draft to that? So you have the ability to go ahead and on the limits here, you have the symmetric, and you have a couple options here from start, limit, and then from section and multiples and all that. So let me just kind of go ahead and show you that real quick here. So let me switch back to NX here. There we go. Looks like locked up here. And it sure did. Oh, there we go. Just took a little while to get that going here. There we go. Sorry about that. Sometimes that's what happens. Live demos. Okay. So one thing I actually missed is on the start here, you also have other goal here, symmetric value. Let me just drag this a little bit further up. Here we go. So it goes both directions, right? In there, I'll go actually have now on the draft, if I expand that a little bit here, and let's see here. Oh, I have to click something here. Oh, kick me out. All right, let me start over that real quick here. There we go. And we create the rectangle. There we go. All right, let me just leave that right here. And like I was saying, under start, I have the symmetric value, which obviously goes both directions. And that's what I was trying to do there right here. And then under here, if I expand the draft, right now I have that to none. I could come back and select that to, let's see here, from symmetric. And you can see that it gives me this right here, right? Now that's from, and you either dynamically drag this like this, right? Or from, let's see here. Now this one from asymmetric, now see what it's doing here? It's giving more options here. I could go this direction. And I could actually have another option here, multiple. So once I select that, now look what it does here. Now I could go to each one of these and I have a different angle added to that. See that? So you could get pretty complex here if they need to. And you can see that, and actually each one of these has its own angle here. Let me just go ahead and show that real quick here. And there you go. Okay. Alrighty. Let's see here. All right. So, there's a couple ways you could go about doing this, right? So, every time I go where when I do training, whether it's NX or other solid edge CAD systems, I always talk about the benefit of using the whole command versus just using a cutout. Here, you definitely have more options here because you are able to put in a type of thread, whether it's metric or ANSI. The type of threading, there could be a countersink, could be a counterbore. So you have all that information in that feature, and then you could drag that information over to your draft. So that way you just point to it as a call out, and it's going to give you what type of hole that is, whether it's got threading or things like that, what kind of thread. All right, let me just kind of show you that. All right, let me open up this part here. I think I have to go and close that other part here. Yeah, let me just go ahead and close this real quick here. No. And that's fine. All right. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and simply click on my hyperlink here to open up the part. There we go. All right. So you can see there, I have this part here, and I simply want to go and select the command. Simple as that. Just go into it, right? And in here, you can simply specify where do you want this. So I want to rave it right here, right? And then tell it where do I want to place that. So I'm going to put it right in here. And oh, I guess I missed that. My apologies. Yeah, it is a type of threading. It's exactly what I want. And actually, I want this guy right here. There you go. I was selecting this, mistakenly selecting the sketch section versus point. Yes, you could have gone also to the sketch section, but if you want to if you already have geometry, then you could just simply go into it and simply select that edge there, and gives you the center of that. And you just keep going on and start placing it anywhere you want. See that? Here and here. And I believe that's it. Once you're done there, and then simply select OK. And there they are. Simple as that. Okay. All right. So when you create your part, and at that point you want to go ahead and shell that. I think I might have talked about this, some of the rules that you need to understand if you are going to put a shell. You know, like I said, there is options to, you know, go back and move the feature, reorder the feature, which you can. But at the same time, you're going to say, well, if I know that I'm going to put a shell, I'll probably put in my blend first. So how do I go about adding a shell? Okay, so I'll go ahead and simply click on my part again. All right. And again, it's simply just selecting the command, and you're going to see the command right here, right? And determining, okay, well, what do you want to, what's the thickness? Well, you could determine that right here. And all you need to do is simply start selecting the faces here. So I'm going to go ahead and simply select that face right here, here, and at the bottom here. See that? Now, if I want to have an alternate distance here, I could go and select that as well. So I want this to be, let's see here, 4 millimeters. Change that to 4. And simply select that face right here. You can see that right there. It kind of changed a little bit there. And maybe this right here. And you can see that's just changed slightly there. Okay. If I want to change that as well here, you can see that. And then once you've done there, you could click OK. See that? Now, look what you got here. You have, you know, if I wanted to add that rounding here, I should have probably put that in there, right? So if I could go back in here and put that in here, and I could, you know, enter whatever value I want, or dynamically just drag that. And if I accept that, well, look what happened here. And again, we talked about this yesterday, so I could come back and actually grab my shell here and just drag it to the bottom of my blend here. So now it includes that part of that. So again, it's one of those things where, you know, if you don't want that, obviously you want to probably should have put that blend there first, edge blend there first, and then added your shell. Okay. All right. So the next thing is, well, I need to, in some cases, I need to, you know, mirror the geometry. Like say, for example, this part right here. You already created the half of it, and then you want to actually want to mirror that, or you don't want to model the other side, right? Just simply go in there and select the geometry that you need to just mirror it over. So if you have a part like this or anything like that, you can simply just go to the command. It's called mirror geometry, and simply select the geometry and the plane that you're going to mirror it about. So let me kind of quickly show you that. All right. So let's say it looks like a hair dryer, and I want to mirror the other way, the other side of it, right? So there, I need to go to the more, and under more, it should be right about here, mirror geometry. You select that command, and then it's going to tell me, okay, well, select the geometry, right? So I select everything here, right, the whole body, and then select the plane to mirror it about. And I'm going to go ahead and select that. And I'm going to select the surface itself right here. Once it does that, and it just mirrors it over to the other side. Simple as that. Okay, and there you have it. Let's see, grab my resource bar here. Okay, all right, so I'm going to move along here. And the next thing is, well, you saw what I did in the previous one. That was a mirror geometry. This one is for mirroring features. You know, there's times where you could just model and just duplicate that and keep doing over and over again. But if you have something that's going to mirror exact same distance from a certain point, why not just mirror it? Okay, so I'll use this example here. All right, so I already placed a a plane here, a datum plane. There it is right there. And obviously I need to put this feature over to the other side. Okay, so again, where do I need to go is go to the more option here. And in there, I'm gonna find that mirror feature right here under associative copy. So I'm click on that command, right? And again, this matters just either going to the features you wanna mirror. So I select that feature, I wanna select that feature. And then go to the mirror plane and simply selecting the plane that I already placed there. And then apply, and it just mirrors over to the other side. Okay. All right, so if you have mirrored, right, now you have other options to, well, I want to maybe a pattern feature along a vector, right? So here, I'm going to go ahead and select the feature here and then select direction number 1 and then direction number 2. Okay, so let me just kind of show you that. Actually, I'm going to use the same model here that I already have opened. There we go. All right, so that feature is right here, right? So a couple things you could do. I'm gonna go ahead and simply go to the pattern feature, which is right here, right? And the first thing is asking me, okay, well, go ahead and select the feature you want to pattern. So I go ahead and select that, and you see how it gives me a little check mark saying, yes, that's indicated. And then I go to the vector specify, right, which is direction number 1, right? And this one, I want to go that direction, right? And for that, I'm going to have that count of 3. And that's going to be a count and pitch. Yeah, that's right. There's the reset there. And it's going to be a pitch 15 millimeters. Okay. And the other direction, direction number 2, yes, I'm going to go ahead and accept that. I'm going to have specify the vector, which is going to be this direction right here. And I'm still going to have the count and pitch, but this one is going to be 2 and 15, which is fine right there. I already have that. And once I have all of that in there, you can see it kind of gives me a little preview here. That all I need to do is say okay. And it just places them in there. Okay. There is another one. So this was a linear. So I want to go ahead and obviously that was one direction, right? So it was one direction. I have another one down here that I want to pattern. And let's see here. For this one, it's just going to go one direction right there. It's going to be 9, and it's going to be a pitch of 5.6. Go back over here. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and select the, but this time I'm going to uncheck the direction 2. So I'm going to be one direction, right? One vector. So I'm going to select the feature, right? And then select the direction. Well, I want to go that direction. And for this one, I have set for 9. And let's see here, go 9. And that's going to be 5.6. Okay. And that's it, just one direction, one vector, right? So I'm going to go ahead and say, it gives you a little preview of that. Say okay. And it just puts them right there. And hopefully when I go to the end, it didn't go over the other side here, which is exactly what you were looking for. Okay. So I've done the pattern, linear pattern. So there's another one, and that's going to be a circular pattern. Let me go ahead and open up this part here. There you go. All right. Again, select the pattern feature here. But this time, instead of having for a layout, instead of being linear, I'm going to make that circular, right? And again, simply selecting the feature, You've done that, and then select the specify vector. And I want that to be, let's see here. It's gonna be cotton span here. There you go. And obviously I want this to be 12 instances, and I want it to be 360. There you go. Hit apply. Done. Okay. All right. So the next one is obviously once you've done with your model, you did your patterning, and one of the things I always recommend is putting your edge blends at the last as possible in your design process. It's just something I work with and find really good results, things like that. So finally, once we have the part completed, then I go ahead and edge blends. Now, would be an exception if you had to do a shell. Right? Remember that earlier when I did the shell, then it didn't have the edge blend. Well, yes, at that point you would do that first, then come back and put in your edge blend. So, all right, so let me go ahead and open up this part. And say okay. All right. So in here, I could simply just go to my command. It's right here. And select the edges. Simple as that. And then again, you could enter the value here or dynamically drag this little arrow there. And you can see they're both changing there. Now I could come back and add another set to this, even though I'm still in the same command, simply by clicking here, add set. And then at that point, I could come back and start selecting others here. And let's say that one right there. And again, this will be a different value, right? If I want to do that, that's fine. Okay, so let's leave it as that and simply hit apply. Okay. All right, so the next thing is, there we go. I just kind of did that where you could add another additional set by clicking on this little icon here, and that would add your additional sets there. Okay. And then finally, adding chamfers. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and in here, bring this down here. Let's cancel that. And your chamfer command is gonna be right about here. And it's simply selecting the edge there, right? And if you have the angle, I think the first one is symmetric, right? So if it's symmetric there, you just simply grab that. Automatically, obviously that's gonna be a 5.5. And then the next one is gonna be asymmetric, right? So it's gonna go that direction, this direction. And then the other last one is gonna be offset and angle. So you can see that there's that angle there and there's the offset distance. So everything's pretty neat how it displays it graphically. So you can simply grab the handle there and modify that and say, okay, that's exactly what I'm looking for. Perfect. All right. So again, I want to thank you all for attending today's session. Again, a reminder, if you have any questions, maintenance customers, you can always email us to our support at designfusion.com. Next session will be tomorrow, same time. Again, if you want to visit our website, check it out. Also visit our blog on our website. So to review any of the previous webinars that we placed up there. All right. Again, if you want to check out our try out NX for free, you could do that. And I kind of play the little video here at the end all the time. So just go Google NX software, takes you to the Siemens website, and just go to click on that trial icon there, and that takes you to the where to go select which one you want. And again, it's in the cloud, so there's really no software you're downloading or anything like that. As long as you have a browser, you go ahead and just go ahead and do everything in the cloud, and select the specific package you want to work with, and try it out. Okay, thank you. Have a great day.